The Springboro Community Schools Board of Education meeting for April 12, 2018. Roll call.
Anderson.
Here.
Babb. Here. Belanger.
Here.
Goods. Stuckey.
Here. Rise for the pledge and stand
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got changes.
Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Anderson. Babb. Yes. Belanger.
Yes.
Stuckey.
Yes. 1-3, approval of the March 14, 2018 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to accept 1.3?
So moved.
Second.
Second. I'm gonna say.
Wake up.
I wasn't here for that.
Oh. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Babb. Yes. Belanger.
Abstain.
Stuckey.
Yes. 1.4, approval of March 21st, 2018 spatial meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Babb. Yes. Belanger.
Yes.
Stuckey.
Yes. Mr. Schreier?
President, so many people here tonight. Thank you for coming. Some of you, this is your first time ever coming to a board meeting. Let me share why there's so many people here tonight. The next two items on the agenda are really the reason. First, we have something called OSBA Awards. That's the Ohio School Boards Association. It is the organization that supports and promotes public education throughout the state of Ohio. Over 610, 12 public comprehensive high schools in Ohio, 49 JVSs, and so forth are members of Ohio School Boards Association. The strongest organization, a part of that, is the Southwest region. With us tonight, Ron Dyer, the Executive Director, and the President of the Southwest region. They're going to be coming up in just a minute because the Southwest organization has an awards program. An awards program such as an outstanding educator, an outstanding business leader, and so forth. We did some nominations this year, and we are very happy that we have some finalists. Some of the extra people that are here tonight are people who helped nominate those people, and we appreciate them being here. And with that, Mr. Diver, if you would please come on up and share what we've got.
Well, you took away my speech. Sorry. You know, our motto though is Southwest is the best.
Yep.
So that answers all those questions. The gentleman I have here with me tonight is the president of the Southwest region of OSBA, and I might explain to you that there are 5 regions in the state. And the Southwest region, there are 17 counties in our region, everywhere, Adams County down to the southeastern part of the area, clear up to Logan County in the east of and everything over the Indiana border. And we have school districts everywhere from Cincinnati City, you know how big they are, 40,000 kids or whatever it is. And then we have some real small ones that like Fairlawn Local, as an example, up in Shelby County. They have less than 500 K through 12. So it's a big difference in the whole region, and we try to work with all of them. And as Dan said, we have the recognition program that we have every year, and we ask for nominations. We have 197 school districts in our region, and so you can imagine how many nominations we have. Sometimes someone makes it to the top, sometimes other ones make it as a finalist, and then there are other ones that we try to recognize them as having being nominated. I will tell you that we're really proud to come here. Scott Huddle is president, and he is from Mad River Local. I'm a former board member, he's a board member right now, and he's president of the region. He's, I don't know, is your president of Man River?
Vice President.
Vice president this year. I think up his board, I think women take over. So the best he can do up there is vice president. So, but he is president of our region. And the my understanding, Springboro did have a winner this year. We had like 5 finalists, I think. And this one, I'm going to let Scott say a couple words, and then he can make the presentation. I'll get him all ready for him.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us here tonight. We really do appreciate it. We live in a day and age, and I think you kind of know that, would agree with me on this, that we're quick to tell somebody maybe what they're not doing right, but we're not as quick to say, hey, you did a great job. And I found that important this day. I kind of observed that today when I was coming down. I was stuck in traffic in Dayton, and a guy in front of me cut off a gentleman, and with the guy, he didn't lay on the horn to say, hey, I'm back here. He laid on the horn to say, you're wrong. And he laid on the horn for 30 seconds probably. But the guy didn't use his turn signal when he came over, so it wasn't necessary. The guy behind him wanted to let him know. But what was interesting, I saw kind of transition, the gentleman who got cut off moved over in the lane and moved ahead, and he, about 2 miles down the road, he needed to get back over. He came back over. He didn't use his turn signal. But the guy that he blew his horn at let him over, waved to him, and not so much as a thank you for letting me go, for nothing to that. So we're quick to tell someone what they're doing wrong, not as quick to say what we're doing right. Dan and the administration did a wonderful job. I was impressed that the number of people he put in for these awards. And while everybody wasn't the actual winner, you were definitely finalists for that. And Dan, that speaks a lot to you and what you do. And I want each of you to understand, as we provide this award to you, that you're valued and you are appreciated for the good things that you do. Again, whether you see that or not, I want you to know your administration knows that, and the board knows that. So as you're dealing with the customers, whether they're the internal customers of your staff or the students or the parents that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, thank you for what you do to reflect that positive influence in public education. And I just want to say thank you to that. And with that, I want to present the winner for the Outstanding Community Business Leader, Carol Hughes. For sure.
You did a
Well,
speech.
you know, this is such a great honor for me. You know, I'm the director of the Springboro Chamber of Commerce. I worked in YMCA's for 16 years before this, and in schools for 15 years before that. I was a second grade and third grade teacher across the pond. Just being thought of as somebody that's valuable in that community gives me a swell of the heart, and I appreciate you so much, Dan, for thinking of me that I would be a recipient of this. We work hard at the Chamber of Commerce to bring our schools, our business community, our city, our township together, to work together, and to be a change agent for our community. I appreciate this so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, I want to recognize a few other folks. These folks were finalists for these awards, and I have to tell you the competition was fierce from everything that I've heard from folks that made those decisions. But it's impressive that so many came from Springboro, and you can be proud of that. And with that being said, Tara Floyd, are you here tonight?
Right back.
Thank you, Tara. Who's next?
I'm not gonna give a speech, Tara?
I took her away. Tell him I took him away from her.
Oh, yes, thank you. Finalist for Outstanding Faculty Member. Recognized as an Outstanding Faculty Member, Nathaniel Heading. Administrator Diane Stacy.
And I have the envelopes for every one of them, so if you want the envelope, they're over here.
Finally, outstanding classified staff member, classroom aide Linda Hamilton.
Now, before we leave, it's kind of our tradition that we always want to recognize the board members. This is how we recognize them.
There's a reminder on here that lets everybody know that the Southwest is best. I didn't know that on here, so.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to hope that we have enough to give each one of the award winners one. I'll give this one over here.
Are you guys good? I think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we close this part, a couple of things. He said there's, what'd you say, 117 schools?
197.
That's what I said, 197 here in this region. We had a winner and we had several finalists. I'm gonna go out on the line here. How many school boards are you going to do this kind of presentation this year?
You got one?
10 or 12.
10 or 12? Out of
We
100?
don't do it unless someone asks us to do it. It's our honor to be able to do it. We have a couple that's actually was at our spring conference where we presented the winners, and they're actually wanting us to come there and present to them again before their peers and before their community.
I really appreciate the fact they took time out of their evening to come and do this. And I congratulate all of our winners, all of the finalists here for this region. For those of you that were finalists and winners, you had some amazing people that wrote letters of recognition and support for you. We're going to get you those letters so you can see what those people wrote about you. Thank you for all of you that came to this. Now, at this point, we're going to be bringing up students in just a little bit. If teachers, administrators, those families do need to go, this is the time to go. But the student presentation is pretty cool. And then when that's done, there'll be a time to go too. So one more time, how about a hand for the Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn this over. Our Student Success in Action, Administrator of the Year for Southwest Ohio, Diane Stacy.
Very humbled and very honored with that award. Just let me start by saying that. But good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board. I'm very excited. My pleasure comes from what we're going to see tonight, and I'll see it. This year, and they're the experts on this, and I will turn this over to Ms. Lund in just a second. But we have brought a new program into the Springboro community, so I definitely thank members of the board for approving that along with Andrea Cook in the curriculum department. And it has really changed the dynamic and what happens every day in the computer class at the Springboro community. So I'm going to introduce to you Mrs. Lori Langdon, who will talk a little bit about Learn and Play, and then we will get on to the awesome presentation of our student body to present this evening. All right, Mrs. Langdon.
Thank you, Mrs. Stacy, for the introduction. I am very thankful to be here tonight with you and thankful to be working with students and parents at Springboro Intermediate. I thank you for this opportunity to address you all tonight. Mrs. Stacy asked that I and my students present the new STEM program that our district has adopted. The program we are using is called Learn and Play. very excited to tell you a little bit about this program and to share my students with you tonight. I would like to begin also by thanking Andrea Cook for bringing this innovative and exciting STEM program to us. STEM education is defined as the preparation of students in competencies and skills in the 4 disciplines: science, technology, engineering, and math. These academic areas, in sequence, build upon each other and can be used for real-world applications. STEM education creates critical thinkers, increases science literacy, and enables the next generation of innovators, our students. The Learning Blade system includes mission-driven challenges, activities based on numerous STEM technologies and careers, a flexible learning management system that allows for differentiation, reporting capabilities for students, classes, and school progress, and the ability to correlate lessons and activities to the Common Core standards. Tonight, we are here to share with you a glimpse of Learning Blade in our classroom. Students are teamed together and are assigned an internet-based mission to complete. These missions are comprised of lessons and activities that are career-based and are used to solve real-world situation or problem while addressing the Common Core standards. Students are exposed to career-based vocabulary and outcomes. At the end of each mission, students are asked to complete a team project relating to the mission they have completed. The program allows for several choices, which allows students to perform and choose based on their learning styles and interests. These projects are planned and presented in class. It has been a wonderful experience and opportunity for our students as they have created their own stethoscopes and have listened to each other's heartbeats. Students have been entrepreneurs and have created a new and improved hoverboard that actually hovered and traveled the entire length of our heat register. That was pretty amazing. Students have had the opportunity to investigate careers that will help them succeed in STEM career paths. I am truly excited about and grateful for the Learning Blade system and what effects it will have on our students and their futures. I see every day the students grow rapidly in their interest and excitement as they begin, then end, and begin again with new missions. The missions relate to current world events and pick the interest easily of our students. They work really hard, as some of the lessons can be quite challenging. Through their efforts, Learning Blade granted our class a 3-dimensional printer. We are very excited to get it going and print something wonderful in 3 dimensions. I have had the opportunity to develop a working relationship with Learning Blade as well, and have participated in several online workshops for them. These workshops are used to promote and teach other schools and districts about the importance of STEM education and how Learning Blade has made it available to them in a career-based format. They are very pleased and excited with usage of their program at SI and the growth we and they have seen in our students as they participate in the program missions and activities. I have been asked to mentor other Ohio schools in their efforts to implement the program into their curriculums, as Learning Blade has been very impressed with the way Springboro Intermediate has embraced and implemented their program with our students. I have also been asked to participate in a podcast within the next few weeks. This podcast will be used in training and professional development for other Ohio schools and districts. I look forward to sharing our SI experiences with others who are embracing the Learning Blade program for themselves. Again, I want to thank Mrs. Cook, and I'm sorry that she can't be here tonight, for bringing Learning Blade on board. It has been great for our kids. At this time, I would like to introduce one of the teams from SI, one of our class projects. They have completed a mission titled Fresh Food, and they are here to explain their learning play experience and share their project with you tonight. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much again for having us here tonight. And I will let them introduce themselves to you.
Good evening, the board president, and the board members. I am Gracie.
I am Brooke. I'm Melissa. I'm Melissa. I'm Julia. I'm Ruby. We have a mission to Fresh Foods online book. Learning Book will step by step different missions and activities. Missions are clear and easy for each mission. During this mission, we learned about the importance of crops and how to grow them.
We also learned that there's so much more to farming, such as advertisements and communities.
Learning Blade shows us examples such as tools and teammates. An example of a tool is farming equipment. An example of a teammate is veterinarian. An example of a tool is hydroponics. Hydroponics is a way to grow food without using little soil or no food. An example of a teammate is a microbiologist, which can help your food supply from being spoiled. This play explains in greater detail what we learned from Learning Blade.
This play also explains what it takes to be a farmer.
So please enjoy the play.
And thank you for listening.
What should we buy? What do you want to buy? Corn, potatoes, and strawberries. That sounds good. Let's see the farmers. Hi, welcome to the farmers market. We're looking for corn, potatoes, and strawberries. You have everything you want to buy? Yes.
I grow potatoes. I spent $65 for planting and $35 for my advertising. That meant I spent $100 with what I have.
What are all your budgets anyways?
We all had $100.
Anyways, I make corn. I spent $40 for planting. I also spent $30 for my advertising. I was planning to have $30 on a bill, but I had to spend $20 for just my crop size. Why 20?
Because each plant is $1. Since after crop size, you had to buy half of them again. Of course, 4 divided by 2 equals 20.
I only have $10, but if you would have bought a $20 again. I'm guessing it's such strawberries?
How did you know? Yes, I do. I spent $70 for planning and $30 for my advertising. I kept all my strawberries pretty and happy.
How does all your advertising tie into this market?
The money goes towards buying the market, table, the banner, and even the setup.
This can also help by putting the market in the newspapers, phones, and signs.
So folks like you can see the signs come towards our markets.
Who wants all this stuff anyways?
The community, of course. Farmers market is run by a farmers community.
There are other communities, but the markets can also be run by businesses, local shops, and other communities.
You can't also forget that clothing, mechanical, house, and anything has markets too. They can be run by any community.
What do I say? Knowing how much effort these farmers put in, we'll spend $200.
Thank you.
Come again.
Soon.
I feel like my brain hurts so much.
Yeah, I knew that there was so much work for the fresh foods.
Thank you for listening. Now, does anyone have any questions?
I do. So tell me what made this a more, why did you enjoy this more than the way you used to do things in computer class? What made it more exciting for you? Because it seemed like you were having fun.
Well, honestly, I think for me, some of my other teammates might think of it differently, but just presenting for me, it makes me really happy, and just seeing how all of our hard work, like how hard Alyssa and Landon and Brooke and Julia, how hard they put into this script and all their hard work just to memorize it, it's probably the most happiest thing that everyone can see.
Is it always easy working together with a team?
No.
Thank you for your honesty.
This team works together pretty well, but I've been in some other teams that are not.
Here's the problem, says the woman with a pitchfork.
Can I have your pitchfork?
No.
Any other questions?
Very nice.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I got one. What is the #1 industry in the state of Ohio? Agriculture, good job. How about that? Now, here's also something really neat. Hold up what you guys just bought. They bought a ear of corn, 1 strawberry, and 1 potato for $200. I'm gonna have a garden this year. I'm gonna invite you guys over. Congratulations. Now, students, before you go, I want to show you this. We do this at board meetings. I've got 6 books here that I'm going to be giving Mrs. Stacy. Inside each book is a label. And the label says this book is donated to the Springboro Intermediate Library on behalf of, and this is from Alyssa. So Alyssa will take this and sign her name. And it says for her presentation at this board meeting on April 12th. So every time a student checks this book out of the library and they open it up, they will know that that book is there because Alyssa spoke at this board meeting. And each book has a different name of the 6 of you. So you'll sign those with Mrs. Stacy. She'll put them in the library tomorrow, and you are now book famous. How about that? How about a round of applause? Oh, students, I'm so sorry. Bring the pitchfork, but be careful. I want you to stand behind the board and get a picture with me. And we'd like your teacher and too.
Pitchfork stays at that.
Stick with me, pitchfork.
I know.
All right. Let's see here. Come all together so we can see. Good smile. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Good job. One more time. Round of applause.
Yeah.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Since you now tell me what you
Maybe not. 2.3, is there anyone from the Springboro Education Association? 2.4, the classified employees. There was no prearranged public participation. Is there any discussion on an agenda item?
Where do you want me to do?
Right there, Dawn.
Lynn Greenberg, 225 East Cannon Drive. I'm here about House Bill 512. I sent you some emails about that, and I just wanted to follow up. House Bill 512 creates an Ohio Department of Learning and Achievement. This bill will strip the Ohio Board of Education of most of its duties, 80% of them, leaving the 11 elected and 8 appointed members to oversee basically just licensure and disciplinary issues. The State Board of Education was created in 1950 to give Ohioans an elected independent voice for students and parents. The new department will be part of the governor's office, and the director of that will be appointed by the governor. This means the education system of Ohio could be overhauled every 4 years, depending on the outcome of an election for governor. The State Board of Education allows for public hearing process as well as a transparent accountability process. I've attended a State Board of Education meeting and sat through several hours of testimony because the board will sit and hear anyone who feels the need to speak to them. And I don't believe the governor's office would take your call and sit in a meeting for hours to hear everybody's testimony. This bill is opposed by over 50 districts who have passed resolutions like what's on the agenda tonight, the Homeschoolers Association, State Board of Education, Ohio Alliance of Arts, Ohio Association of School Business Officials, which is the Treasurers Association, Buckeye Association of School Administrators, which is superintendents, Ohio School Board Association, and the Ohio Education Association. Laura Kohler, who is an appointed member of the school board, appointed by Governor Kasich, said that she believes the bill would make job preparation the focus of Ohio's education system. And I think also this removes our voice as parents from being able to elect someone locally that knows our districts and can take our opinions to the state. We may not know what the whole state feels like, but we know what our community feels like. And I think having a local representative is very important to us, both buildings that are sited. Thank you.
Work session.
3.2, discussion of custom building from Pat Van for Third Creek Elementary. Mr. Padilla.
Mr. President, members of the board, for your discussion tonight. Way back in January, we started the discussion about the preschool situation. We were having to open a 5th unit based on numbers, and so in looking at our projections for the near future, it looks like we're going to need additional classrooms definitely next year and possibly the following year from that. So we embarked on some discussions in our board retreat and work sessions over that time. Back in early February, I contacted PacVan again because they're the ones that put in the permanent modular back in 2015 that we are currently on a lease purchase on. We also got wind that we knew that the Goddard School was building a new building and they would be vacating their current building. And so we started some processes on looking at that. Tara Floyd has worked diligently trying to get information, and we finally got some answers this past week on that. And then we also looked at the overall possibility of trying to keep it within house, about moving some of it, moving preschool down to Dennis and all that. So we've done that. We've done all that internally, and we've had a lot of discussions about that. One of the problems with Goddard is that they don't want to sell, and we just found that out last week. I mean, we've been trying for a month to get that, and if they want to lease of somewhere between $160,000 and $180,000 to lease their building a year, so it makes it pretty uneconomical because not only would we be paying that on an annual basis, but we'd also have to do some renovations inside, some work on fences, some other things that are there. So we'd have to do some work to the building, and then we'd be paying somewhere between $160,000 and $180,000 a year just to lease the building. So long term, that's probably not a good solution. It would be if we were looking at maybe a couple years, but we're probably not looking at a couple years based on our anticipated numbers of preschool students, the preschool handicap that we continue to get. So in looking at Dennis, a couple problems that we look at with Dennis. Right now they have 5 classrooms that are free, which we have 5 preschool classrooms. Now they do have one YMCA room that's there, so that would free up, make a 6th classroom in that wing that we could create a preschool wing. But then Dennis would be in the same position that we're in at Clear Creek, one more classroom that we have an add-on, and then they would be full, and we wouldn't have anything to do with that. The other big concern with that is we'd have to create a preschool playground from scratch because the playgrounds that are there are not for pre-K1 or pre-KK. In addition to that, of course, then we'd have to go through the entire process to have it recertified, because when you move buildings, it's a recertification, which was also a problem with Goddard, but Goddard already had a preschool certification there. So that makes it a little bit easier if we would move from a building that's got a certification to another building that's got certification. It makes that certification a little easier. Dennis has never had a preschool certification, so that would take a little bit of a challenge. Back in early February, we contacted PacVan. They gave us a quote on a 2-classroom modular unit and a 6-classroom modular unit. And remember, these modular units, they're permanent modulars. So they're not the ugly modular with the ugly skirting that every animal gets under and everything else. So, there are poured foundations. There is a crawl space underneath that has piers. They're on the piers. It's a true brick finish, bottom to top. So that's what we're recommending at this point in time, is to go back with a 6 classroom modular building. We did get the architects involved to make sure that we had enough restroom capacity, and Todd Thackeray got back to us, and we could add another 300 students to that building and still not reach the restroom capacity. Now, I would never want to put 300 more students in this, but remember, with preschool units, you're only looking at somewhere between 8 to 16 kids in each classroom because of the number of students that you're allowed because of the handicapped preschool part. So we're not looking at a huge enrollment growth there. Right now, our enrollment growths are keeping pretty steady. We've got, we added a first grade classroom this year. Our growth is not anticipated to be huge right now. That doesn't mean anything. We do have housing starts that have increased quite a bit, but it's right now with the birth rate still down for Warren County. We're not anticipating a huge influx of preschool, kindergarten, and first graders than the normal, what we've had in the past. When you look at what we've had the last several years, we were actually a little bit down on first grade, except for this year's first grade, which had a big bump in it, and it'll go back down. So, because this year's kindergarten is less than last year's kindergarten. So this year's first graders are a bigger class than this year's kindergarten class. So we're looking at somewhere between the 450, 475 at max right now, and we have enough classrooms to meet that at Clear Creek for kindergarten, first grade. It's that preschool classrooms, the handicap piece that's creating a huge growth problem, because when we first put those modulars in back in 2015, we had 2 classrooms of preschool, and then we were opening a half classroom of preschool. And now we have 5 full classrooms, so 10 sections of preschool handicap, which is what's driving this need for additional space.
So, can I have a question? So I've got my notes from our February retreat.
Right.
And you have given us the different schools with the number of rooms.
Right.
And then the number of open rooms. And maybe I wrote this down wrong. How many open rooms do you have at 5 Points?
5 Points, we have 5 right now.
Okay, so I had that we had 8 empty rooms at Dennis and 5 at 5 Points, with some of the ones at Dennis being YMCA.
Well, right now we have 5 open classrooms at Dennis. We have 1 that's YMCA, 1 that's the social communications classroom. So it's theoretically not open. We've got the social communication classroom one, which is a special ed room.
Right.
And then
that's one of them that is staying in.
We have a contract for 21.
Correct.
That's staying in district.
Right.
Good. So it's 5 open with.
One of the other problems that we learned with Dennis, not only do we have to put a significant amount of cost in the playground equipment, but the rooms would have to have a significant amount of cost to retrofit them for the preschool students.
Right, to make them smaller,
Yeah.
correct. I missed that.
So with the growth of the preschool program, by adding these at this lower cost, we still have room for growth at Dennis.
Correct.
If we was to put the preschool there with some of the growth preschool's having, we're gonna run out of space at Dennis for any new 2nd through 5th graders. Plus the cost of doing this is a lot less than what it would cost to go to Dennis, and we still have the room at both schools then.
Here's where my concern is. When I left the February board meeting, my understanding was that basically what we had looked at there was just a basic, if we have, I think the 25 and 30 was if we have an average of 25 kids per classroom and 30 kids per classroom?
Correct.
Okay. And then how many we currently have per building and how many open classrooms we have?
Correct.
Okay, so when we left there, you had given us an estimation of each school year, how many students you anticipated.
Correct.
That we would have. And we just went off of the trend.
Correct.
Of what it's been.
Right.
My understanding was before we made any type of decision, financial decision, we were going to dig deeper into a more scientific approach and looking deeper into different options. And I really used my OSBA connections and talking to other school board members. And one of my connections had shared with me that their districts use future planning. It's only $10,000, but it's a very thorough, in-depth study to really get an understanding of where the growth is going to be. Because my concern is putting close to $100,000 into a modular when potentially this fix at Dennis, we could fit them there. If Dennis, looking at the other classrooms or the other grades, if potentially we could move it around, and it might not be a perfect solution one year, but if it saved $100,000 over here, I would like to see us dig deeper into other solutions than before we make the decision to go with the modular. So that's where I'm at. I just feel like there's more digging that
Well, we
I'd
don't
like
say,
to
you're
see.
saying we have to invest in that. So what would the cost be approximate that you'd have to invest in? So it's not like we're not spending any money.
Right, but we'd be putting money into a modular classrooms also.
Oh, I agree, but so not spending on the modular doesn't mean we save. It just means you spend that somewhere else. That's all.
But you're not building classrooms. You're putting it into setting classrooms up for a preschool, and we'd have to put it into preschool equipment.
But then what happens if the preschool grows beyond the 6?
Well, that's why I think we need to do this
But
future
does that
plan.
cover preschool? Because I thought that, I feel like that's the area where we have the difficulty forecasting the preschool side of
Right.
things. Right?
Well, if we did this future planning, it would dig into the preschool piece of it to
I guess
where.
it's I'd have to understand more, but I thought from the discussions that we've had that preschool piece, in particular, the children with the special needs side of it, which really drives then, the additional students that are required to keep that ratio sort of in sync, that was a very difficult piece. So I've got some questions about whether something like that is actually going to provide that level of granularity, because that feels like a bit of a really tough thing to forecast.
I'd like to add to that, I would
Right,
agree
between that,
with Mr.
the
Washington on
playground
that.
stuff and everything.
Preschool is almost impossible to predict.
Yeah.
Every other grade, I put my faith in Mr. Fennell and the relationship he has with the township and the city, as well as the entire county. These guys spent hours looking at this. We've got a pretty good feeling of what's happening for the future. Preschool is almost impossible for a company to come in who's not even in this county to try to figure out.
I think what I'm hearing is the difficulty in preschool is that you start from scratch. If you're forecasting 3rd, 4th, 5th, you have the previous grades in there, so that you have that track record, and then so you have a baseline to go from.
Correct.
So I think that's what
There is a track record. Head Start takes care of our children with special needs. This company, there is a way that you can research this, not just through a school system. And
Didn't we have, how many students moved in this year that were not part of that?
I think that's one of the things that is difficult, is because through the Help Me Grow program, we should have an IEP in place, if I'm not mistaken, by their birthday. The problem is that people are moving in from other counties, and either they haven't been identified yet, we don't know what other counties have. So once they're moving in, then we're finding out from other counties. If they grew up in Warren County, then we can kind of know they're coming if they move. But we've had a lot of move-ins. We had 15 new kids move in just this year from preschool, the handicap side of preschool. So right now, even with adding the 5th classroom, we had to add that 5th classroom mid-year, which gave us 16 total spots, 8 special ed and 8 regular ed. Right now, we only have 11 of those spots left. And we got 15 new kids in at the beginning of last school year. So if we get 15 kids in over the summer, we have nowhere for them to go.
And those were new that didn't come from.
Right, through the system, correct.
That's why I guess I just feel like.
They're not being identified or coming in from outside of Warren County, and they're not on the radar because we don't get that information when we call county's information.
I think still have a concern that we haven't dug deeper into finding out, is there potentially a way that we have not looked to get some information to see, is there a way to look at our numbers differently to make this work without adding on another modular? I don't feel like we've done due diligence in making this decision.
All of our new bills that are coming in, all of the new land that is now being developed is on Dennis's side. All down 741, that's going to be that huge condo, I don't even know what it all is, Country Creek. All of those homes and condos and everything, that's all going to be Dennis. So if we go to preschool,
North
then
and
Dennis
south.
is not going to be full and possibly not have any extra room. And then all of these new bills are going to come, then we're going to
We're
have to
hoping.
preschool back out again. At least if we have this modular, we have 6 classrooms. Right now, we only need really a half. So that gives us, 5.5 extra rooms to grow. And we've grown from 2 to 5 in 4 years. So it gives us several years. Whereas Dennis, I don't think that's going to give them, as soon as those houses go up and people start moving in with their families, and they're going to be going, in 2nd through 5th grade, we're going to have problems at Dennis. We're going to show you that after we spend all the money to retrofit the playground and all the classrooms.
That decision making, that conversation came to the point after our team, again, looking at the township, looking at the city, all the growth that could happen, and how Dennis is going to grow. Dennis became a non-issue. We can't put preschool in Dennis. There's just not going to be enough space. So, okay, if Dennis is not an issue, now where do we look? The Goddard School is a great option. So the Goddard wanted us to please. We attempted to get a hold of many times. We finally reached the owner. That just happened in the last week. Maybe have the opportunity to buy it, to be able to have a great facility with just a few upgrades. That became a no option. Now we've got a timing constraint. We've got to roll, and the best option based upon our planning with several agencies, John Cannell is not somebody who just came overnight. That's the reason why we bring you this proposal.
And I believe that with John Cannell. You're telling me that there's going to be growth with Dennis, but all the numbers that we got for 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, it's decreased enrollment. Okay.
I just want to assume that.
I've stated my concern. I feel like there is further research that can be done with this before we make the vote. I feel like this is a large amount of money to have it presented tonight without further research and discussion, but the board can make a decision.
Do you know, John, how long, because I know that there was a time constraint on getting the project started.
Well, even approving it now, it's going to be tough to get it done by the start of school. It'll be close. Because last time, in 2015, it was approved in March, and we finished the week before preschool started. School was
Starting a week early this year.
well, right, and school had already started at Clear Creek when we were pushing everything in. So
This is the kind of stuff, then, as we have our board retreats, we've got to back way up that, because we need to be able to have these, if we've got these concerns, so that we're not into this time constraint.
We had the conversation at February retreat. We knew where we wanted to go, but then Goddard came to the picture. We thought, let's give this a shot. We thought we had an opportunity. We had some great conversations with the city, also with some partnerships with Goddard. And he being able to help us financially with a couple things that happened. It was worth our wait. But when that didn't come to fruition, it's now time to act. We've done our due diligence, in our opinion, and that is our proposal.
If we spend the money, just want to clarify, if you spend the money in the classroom piece at Dennis, and then let's say you did end up, either the preschool grows or Dennis grows, it doesn't matter which one of them grows, and you're out of space, and you've got to move preschool back, do you have to spend that money again to sort of redo those classrooms, to put them back to the elementary age?
yeah, we'd have to, because you'd have to redo them. Now, I'm not sure it'd be the full same cost, because we'd probably keep everything that we take out of there, but it would, there'd still be a cost to put them back.
It's sunk at some point. I mean, the playground's not going to.
Correct, and you're not going to move the playground equipment. So,
Yeah, I'm just curious if you had to do that. And then, is it true, my understanding too, at Clear Creek this year, don't we have some of the, maybe it's some of the specialists and things like that that aren't in classrooms currently?
We,
or-
yeah, we have art on the card.
So I mean, this helps to maybe relieve some of.
Correct.
Some of that.
We might be able to, well, we can put art in a
You
regular
can
classroom.
Put that back
until
in a
it
classroom
fills up.
setting.
Right.
Yeah.
So that comes a little there.
Yeah.
3.3?
Yeah.
3.3 is a discussion of House Bill 512. Thanks to Lenny Ringberg, we got an email concerning the issue, and obviously many of us have already been aware of this. As I have shared with you, there are 2 school districts in this county that have already done a board resolution. One is going to be doing another one Monday night, which takes it up to 3. This is bad to ask that we have this discussion tonight concerning this. We have prepared a resolution in case the board does want to go back to a resolution tonight. If you do, that would be a motion later on in the agenda. If you decide not to, that's fine, it goes away. But we wanted to open that up for conversation tonight to see whether or not this is something the board wants to do or not.
I don't have a problem with signing it. Does anybody else? Because you and I sat through a presentation the night that Cheryl got her award, and obviously it's not something that's going to benefit us.
I know Scott Butts and Steve Wilson.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
Like, do we know where our local representatives?
Yeah, they oppose it.
Okay. I'm just curious to get their thoughts.
And I think it's important that we have a voice, and this is definitely taking away our voice in the community members' voice. So I think, I don't think there's a lot that that we as a board have come out and been an advocate for, and I think it's more and more important for us to be aware of what's happening at the state level. So I appreciate you guys being willing to do a little bit of research with it and to sign. I think it's an important thing to get behind.
So under board member reports and stuff, we'll do a motion at that time, or do a motion to amend the agenda to add. So I'll just do it all by hand, but I'll make sure it's in.
Thank you. And thank you, Lynn, for bringing that to board's attention.
Committee reports?
We have none at this time.
Any other business?
Sorry.
No other business?
No other business for work session. Move to the treasurer's report.
Yeah.
I have several items for you tonight. My first item is March 2018 financials. Our cash balance at the end, the financials are already loaded on board docs, so if anyone has any questions, you can send me an email or ask me. Our cash balance for all funds as of March 31st was a little over $19 million. Our cash balance for the general fund alone was over $11.6 million. If you look at the cash flows on the stuff that I have loaded on board docs, we are under budget in every category: personnel, purchase service, supplies, equipment, and our other objects. The only object code that we have right now is benefits that is running over estimates. I have looked into it. It will have to be adjusted for the May forecast. One of the items, our severance that we paid out this year was a lot higher than our severance that we paid out last year. And severance is kind of hard to do, that don't know who's going to retire and they get paid out the following year. So I have, that is over $73,000 over what we paid out last year, so I'll have to adjust that for the May forecast. As well as in, for our open enrollment, the number of people who are came on our plan has increased our monthly premium by $27,000 a month. So that has added $190,000 to our anticipated cash flows for the year. So those are two of our big ticket items that are causing us to run over estimates right now. Unfortunately, those things in the email that this is one of the areas that's hard. We don't really have any control over this. The negotiation process is our health insurance and health benefits, and our retirement is running over a little bit as well, but that's stashing as well. So other than that, all of the financials, it looks like as of right now, the cash flow remains, cash flow projections that I have remain stable will be about $100,000 total over budget for the entire year, which is about 0.2%. hard because, you know, everybody has their budgets and it's just depending on what the needs are throughout the year. I can kind of anticipate in each month what people spend. But if they spend something that they didn't spend in the last several years, then that's going to throw it off. And so it's just it's a trend game basically for the rest of the month to kind of figure out what we ideally people will spend each month. But if everything remains stable as it has been, it will be about $100,000 over budget for the total for the year.
When was that thing, I don't remember if it was in the spring, but that special ed could submit, there was a lot of paperwork that we received those. Yes.
I'm
It's-
doing them right now, and they've changed the system, so a 2-day ordeal is probably going to turn into a 2-week ordeal. But they have to be in by April 30th, and I've already got them all ready. I'm just uploading them all into the system, so I'm anticipating, I think I have in the forecast that we'll receive around 300,000. So, you know, it's looking like it's going to be. Now, that's a tough one because it's one pot of money that OEP sets aside. So basically, we submit all the costs that we have, and then depending on all the districts in total for the state, they all put in their costs, and then they divide it evenly among all districts of how much of your cost you get back. So we might get 41% one year, we might get 50% one year. So it just depends on how many schools, you know, submit in order for us to know how much we'll get back. So we have to wait and see if we get that percentage. But with how hard they're making it this year, maybe some schools won't submit because it's quite difficult this year to get those. They're trying to reduce the dollars basically, so we'll have to see how it shakes out when we're all finished. But I have begun that. We have 83 submissions to do.
And does that go back into the special ed department or
That
budget?
goes back into the general fund revenue.
General fund.
So yeah, it doesn't go back into the budget. It offset, basically it's just general fund revenue.
Right.
Since we can't really control the special costs. So
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm working on it now. My second item is we have approval of the donations for $100 from Pages Glory for STEMFest. We also have approval of a donation for $100 from Ohio Sports Academy for STEMFest. Approval of a donation for $200 from the Springboro Junior High School choir to the Springboro High School musical. An approval for a donation of $12,366.86 to the Springboro Athletic Boosters to football, girls soccer, boys soccer, and volleyball. And that was just added today. Actually, let me know that she received that today, so we did add that list. And then my last item is an approval for a contract with Rockmill Financial for long-term planning and general consulting services. One of the main things that I discussed at the last retreat that I wanted to use this for was to help us look. We have 6 OASB pools right now, and they were done many years ago, and the financing is 30 years old for some of these things, and I would like to work with Rockmill in an effort to try to go back and renegotiate some of these lateral pool loans and hopefully get them down and make them end faster, which will pay off less interest over time as well as be able to pay them off sooner, since most of the pool loans that we have with them, all of the items that were in those loans are long expired, but we still have the previous loans for many, many years. So that's one of the main reasons for this contract. And then obviously, for just long-term planning process that district needs.
So from what you shared at the retreat, you feel that the money that we put in for this year of his assistance, we will more than get back?
That's my hope, if we can get somebody, and it might end up being a large process. There's many districts that are still, there's 28 districts that are still within the Alaska pools. And we are the last district in the Alaska pool, so as anyone falls off, we are the last district in the pool, which then that ends up being, you know, on our case, that makes the pools more unstable, which could then increase our finance costs. So it's in our best interest to try to work something out, so we can get some of our stuff paid off sooner. If it's all the districts as a whole, or if it's just our district that's moving forward, and however it's going to be. They will be able to strategically help us in that process of how to negotiate and get some of this debt removed.
But you're able to cover this expenditure within your budget by making some other trade-off decisions.
It is not in addition to the budget, no.
Is there, one thing I saw in the agreement that was a bit of a concern to me was that it is automatically rolled over each year without our signing it. Could you put a tickler in your calendar or something? I'd like to reevaluate it next year to decide whether we feel that it was a wise investment.
Right, and even though the agreement says that, it has to come before the board because it's only $25,000. So it would have to come before the board anyway. So I would have to, obviously, when it comes to me, I'll have to, it says for 30 days written notice that I can non-renew it. So if we talk about it next year, a month before it's due, you guys are not moving forward with them again, then I'll just write a letter and say we're not going to be using the service again.
Is it a one-year commitment if we got 6 months into it and felt that it was ineffective, or is it a one-year commitment?
We can use it as, we can use the consulting firm for all of those items that are on that contract, or more, if the board still has other items that are not on this contract, that they would have expertise in. So we can use them as many times, they'll come to board meetings, they'll come to special retreats, anything that we need, they'll come and provide assistance in any area that we need that was going on.
And that was the piece, I know you touched on it, but, I think it's great to work with the OASBO pools and trying to recover or get out of some of those situations. But I think that, what we heard in terms of what they can provide in helping with some of that strategic planning that we've been discussing in the retreats, I think that that's where, in my opinion, at least, the real benefit will come.
I have a question about STEM Fest. How financially, was everything okay?
Yeah, it was great. We had a great night. It was well attended. We had money to, help us with next year's startup costs and stuff. And I'm glad you asked me because I was going to ask to tell you. It's going to be on the 11th next year. So the 11th. Expo moved to the 9th, I guess. So we're going to be
Correct.
Now, if you needed more money, I was going to have Charles do it.
Trust me, we'll hit him up.
Appreciate it.
Good, glad to hear it.
Let's vote on it.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept 4-1 to 4-6?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it. Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yeah, I want to see what I'm voting on. Am I voting on the modular?
No.
Yes. Sorry.
Solange?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Anderson, I'm sorry, I'm not sure everyone asked you.
Yes, yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
Mr. President, the only one item under superintendent's report, we actually became very fortunate in the fact that Hamilton City Schools let Carrie Hester out of her contract so she could begin early. So John Fennell can do the other 37 things he does, and we take the one part, human resources off. Carrie has already started doing a phenomenal job with us. This is a 76-day contract to finish out this week.
Is there a motion to accept 6.1? No, I'm sorry, 5.1.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Solange?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
You still have to stay the rest of the meeting. Director of Special Education.
Good evening, I'm Martha Ward. I just have two quick things on here today. Seeking approval for related services contract for a student that is already placed out, and also trying to get a little bit more creative with our transportation cost. So seeking approval for that one as well.
Is there a motion to accept 6.1? Second? Discussion?
I appreciate you trying to get creative with it, because I know that's a huge expense, so thank you.
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Solange?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Fennell?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for your consideration today, 7.1, the creation of the district nurse position as an exempt employee. Currently, it's in actually both the teacher and the certified and the non-certified contract. We've talked to the union, they were willing to pull it out, and we talked about this before. So that way she can actually medically supervise the clinic aides that we have, which is going to help us out a ton. 7.2 is the approval to have the PAC fan installed at Clear Creek. 7.3 is approval of the Title I summer positions for 5/29/18 through 6/15/18. This is the same as last year, so that's we've got those folks. We've also got the Title I summer school director on the personnel report later on. 7.4 is the approval to authorize myself to begin the bidding process for replacement windows here at the high school in the amount of $100,000. It's the same thing we did last year. I started a little bit earlier last year, but I'm waiting a little bit because we can't afford to have them put in too early in the summer. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer. So I waited an extra month to bring that to you. But it's in our process that we talked about earlier for summer projects. 7.5, I hadn't planned to buy another van this year, but in order to be a little creative with some things and to help take the load off, the van that we purchased this year has been a huge bonus, so we're trying to buy another van for the next year. That $26,000, $28,000 is going to be money well spent compared to some of what we're trying to do with busing. 7.6 is approval of a choreographer personal services contract. 7.7 is this is just the normal renewal that we have for Marcy Thomas, who works in the Human Resources Department. Carrie has 1.5 people there, so we desperately need Marcy to continue, so we want to keep her going on that. 7.8 are the personnel items. We have 19 items on this. We do have a couple certified resignations for personal reasons. We have a retirement of a bus driver. The district nurse position is on here. We've got some replacement hirings there. All those 3 positions are actually replacement positions. We've got transfer of a person. We've got the Title I summer director there, and then we've got some leave of absences.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept 7.1 through 7.8?
Can you separate one out, please?
Would you like to separate out 7.2?
7.2.
So what we can do is have a motion to approve 7.1 and 7.3 through 7.8.
So we're going to vote on that first.
Go after that.
So moved.
Second.
So we're doing 7.1, leaving out 7.2.
7.1 to 7.8 without 7.2. We'll start with the cat.
Anderson?
Yes.
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Yes. 7.2.
So moved.
Second? Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
No.
Palage?
Yes.
Yes.
And 7.9 today is the approval of one temporary athletic worker.
Is there a motion to accept 7.9?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Those who have any comments and questions? Oh, that's that. So we need to vote on that.
First,
Is there a motion to amend the agenda, excuse me?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve the resolution of possible 5 schools.
under 3.1,
resolution?
So moved.
Second? Charles, roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes. Comments, questions? Mr. Emerson?
No, I don't really have any comments. I think it was a good discussion about, that we had about the building, and I think, we need to get going, because last year we got it in April 4, and I think that's the best alternative for now. And financially, we're gonna spend the money, so the only thing I'd say, when we can come, we're gonna spend money. Spending $100,000 or $100,000, I'm not realizing that, but it's 2 points of 1%. For the return on that investment for those young children, and having them all in the same place, and not, if I was a parent, I would hate that we did this and went to another building, and then a year or two later, found out that now we need to change again. We just need some consistent continuity with that ordinance, for sure. But anyway, that was a good discussion.
I want to welcome Carrie Hester. Thank you for your note. It was very nice, and we are super excited to have you in the district. So welcome, and we're glad that you came early too. So welcome.
It's been great.
Beth Poultry left, but she was an absolute amazing. I'm glad that she got recognized tonight, because she was an amazing help with STEMFest. She was the staff person that helped us out, just to be the go-to for any of the staff people that helped, and she was an amazing resource to just get messages out and to be that connection when we needed things with the building and stuff. So she put in tons of her own time with meeting with us in the evening and things like that. So kudos to her and all that she did to help make that night a success. So I just want to call out for her. And the last thing was, if anybody has heard word about this, I am super, super, super excited that the state of Ohio is looking at a new strategic plan. There's 13 different sessions that they're having around the state that they're asking for input. And the superintendent of the state has been, I went to Stivers a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was so awesome. I'm actually going back next week. I went there for my job, but it was so exciting to see what the strategic plan is. If it goes through and gets implemented, and we figure out a way to get it implemented in the districts, it's not all about testing. It really is looking at the whole child and figuring out how to get into these kids and helping them emotionally and socially, and all of those components that really, really makes a solid, strong child that prepares them for the workforce in every way. And this is talking from your preschool years and preparing them for the workforce. It talks about equity, and there's just so many components of it that are super exciting. So as you read about things in the paper, they had, I think Dayton Daily had one article after it was at Stivers, and now it's in Hamilton County, so I'm not sure if we'll see something in Dayton Daily, but just pay attention to it. It's super exciting what they're doing, and they really are listening to community members. So if you get on ODE's website, there's a place that you can comment. If you've got feedback, they are taking feedback. They really are. And there was state school board members at the meeting that I was at, and they were facilitating. There was ODE members at every round table that was facilitating. And like we had a very active table, but she took 9 pages of notes off of what we said, and she's taking it back, and they're going through that and implementing it. So this is not a top strong, we're going to tell you what to do. They want to hear from school districts, from community members, from educators. So it's super exciting because they're getting it that test scores do not make students that are really ready to go out there into the workforce. They need those soft skills and all of those things that really make you a complete student. So it was super exciting to me to see that at the state level they're getting it.
John, you'd like that one, do away with some of the testing.
Yeah.
We're well into it.
Yeah, just again, congratulations to everybody that was recognized at the OSBA earlier. It was great that we had so many people from our district that were recognized for all the great work that they're doing. So congratulations again, and thank you again to Stacy and the students for the presentation from SI. You know, it was great to hear not just what the students in our district are taking from it, but how you know, we're able to sort of help act as a model for other districts and extend some of the learning that we received as part of this program and help other districts benefit from it as well. So I thought that was great to hear. Also wanted to thank Lynn for her emails on the House Bill 512, and I'm glad that we were able to pass that resolution this evening. And also thank you to everybody for the donations. I mean, all the ones that we went through, in particular STEMFest, and it's been brought up, but I didn't have a chance to attend this year, but heard a lot of great things. And so I appreciate everybody's time and energy that they put forth into making that event a success. And then I also wanted to welcome Carrie. I was not at the last meeting, so I didn't get a chance to meet her. And I mean, it's funny you mentioned the note. I was going to say that my wife actually thought, we got this note from Carrie, and my wife thought it was a computer, like simulating handwriting. That's how neat it was. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure this is actually handwritten. And so we opened it up, but that's how neat the handwriting was in the envelope. I had my wife fooled. So thank you. Welcome aboard.
First, I attended STEMFest, and it was really great. I do have, you know, can we get the rocket launch to be good next year? Or, you know, 2 years ago, the storm hit, and then I think it took 3 times or something like that. Anyway, it was a success, and, you know,
We'll get there.
it was attended by many people. Thanks to Lynn for the bringing up the resolution. Thanks to the students. It was great to see them, what they performed tonight. Congratulations to the award winners. Not only Carol Hughes, I really enjoyed going to the dinner that night and seeing her get the award, but all the other finalists. And then also glad, Carrie, you're legitimate now. You know, you got the contract.
I'm actually going to get paid.
Yeah.
You worked the first one, 4 days and 3 days without one, right? It's a appreciate thing. So, that's it for me.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. It is a blessing with the board's leadership to allow these students to come every board meeting. With each presentation, it just really is exciting to see the work and the excitement that these students, along with their teachers, are doing. So thank you for allowing that to happen at each board meeting. March 30th, though, I do want to highlight, we lost an amazing member of our team. Donna Miller has taught 34 years in Springboro schools. She was actually at my interview 21 months ago. She had just come from cancer treatments. Sat there in the interview as part of the teaching interview group. I was able to see her the first day she came back to school last year and sat in the teacher's lounge and talked to her, as well as some other second grade teachers. And she beat that cancer. This past summer, she joined our leadership academy and announced to the first class that she was cancer-free. And then just a few months later, that cancer came back. She had battled it for a few years. And on March 30th, she lost that battle. We lost a great teacher and a great friend. Mrs. Hunter and her team did an admirable job. Last Monday, parents of the students of that class were there. Students of her class took a lot of time to remember her and do some artwork and write some letters. And we had students from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade go to the library with other members of our team because she touched their lives in those years too. Thoughts and prayers were with Donna's family. She'll truly be missed. At this point, do any administrators have any updates from their buildings?
I'll go. Right now, we are, day 3. We just finished testing. As you were mentioning testing, we have been smooth sailing, which has been awesome. So we'll tackle, our day 4 tomorrow with 4th grade doing math, and then next week we'll have our 5th grade
off their testing experience. We had a great surprise yesterday with Tiffany Page being recognized for Project Excellence, so that was an awesome experience yesterday morning. She was super excited and just overwhelmed with joy. And let's see, our second graders went on a big Philharmonic field trip on Monday, which was a great experience for them, thanks to our PTO, kind of helped with that with our mini grants. And we have COSI coming up next week for our 3rd and 5th grade, so we're super excited for that. So there we are for 5 points.
Let me add on to that if I could. I'm glad you brought up Tiffany Page because it reminds me of something Ashley gave me. Tiffany Page, we actually brought a team to the building as well as the lady that nominated. That came to the high school and the Project Excellence winner here was Julie Grace. And so both wonderful, wonderful teachers. Ashley wanted me to remind you, we have sent an email about the Project Excellence banquet on May 2nd at 5:30 p.m. So after the meeting, if you know you can go or not, let me know, or you can certainly email us, but we've got to get reservations in there fairly quickly. Again, May 2nd, 5:30 is at the Warren County Career Center. Then we are planning the annual retirement dinner for the staff members that retire. That will be May 15th, 6 p.m. at Heather's. Again, May 15th, 6 o'clock at Heather's. And so again, if you want to let me know tonight or just email Ashley, that would be awesome. President, that's all we have tonight. We're ready to move into executive session for a short meeting.
I will have a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Solange?
Yes.
Yes.